Jeremy here today, and I am taking a look at the THL T11. It's a Chinese import that I just got in a couple days ago. This phone actually was pretty recently announced and is now available for worldwide shipping. I picked this up through THLmobilestore.com for the price of only $229, and it's actually pretty cheap considering everything that this phone has. Before we actually take a look at the device itself, this is it right here, let's take just a quick peek at some of the things that it came with. First off, it did come with a screen protector. I don't know if you can see that, but right there, I did a really poor job putting that on, so I got a couple air bubbles. Aside from that, here's the box that it came in. Pretty fancy looking. In the box, well, not all of this was in the box. Some of this was in the packaging. I just shoved it all in the box for safekeeping, but have a European power adapter for wall outlets. A US adapter, so that way I can use it in the wall. I have used this and it didn't burn down my apartment, so that's good. A quick start guide, which I have to say, this is probably the most slimmed down, basic, this is how you use Android guide that I've ever seen come with a phone. A couple of NFC stickers, which I guess you can program and then just stick on stuff because it's NFC, and this phone does have NFC, which we'll get into that a little later. And then underneath, I don't remember if there's anything down here or not. Oh, yep, it came with some white headphones that I haven't even bothered to try out yet, but they actually don't look like they are that bad. They have a flat ribbon cable, which actually I kind of like, and they're in-ear instead of the ones that like just kind of, well, they have the silicone tip, so that way they're not going to dig into your ear. So I guess that's nice. I guess I might give them a try later on. Also included was, of course, standard USB cable, which, I mean, you know, same cable that you get with any other phone. It's actually pretty high quality. I mean, at least it feels like it's pretty dense, so hopefully I won't be getting any snags that kill it. But let's get on to the meat of this quick look at this device. So here it is, THL T11. Like I said, phone was just recently announced, and it's actually pretty cheap considering the surprising number of features. Opening up the back to show you that this phone actually has 2 SIM slots, so you can actually be running 2 SIMs on this at the same time. Now, it doesn't let you do 3G on 2 SIMs at a time. I've heard reports that only the full-size SIM gets 3G, but in the startup guide it did say that you should be able to go into the SIM manager and switch it. So if you have a micro SIM, you should hopefully still be able to get 3G. I don't have a micro SIM on me, so I'm not able to test that out. Right here we see some of the connectors. So this one right here is for NFC. Not entirely sure what that one's for. Maybe for a charging system, but I didn't get a dock or anything with it. Let's close this back up. Oh, before I forget, it also did come with this neat little back case. Phone just snaps in. Doesn't seem like it'll give much protection to the screen, but at least it'll keep the back from getting all scratched up, which, by the way, let me just say that this back is actually pretty nice for a plastic back. Yeah, the phone is plastic back, glass front, but the plastic is a nice matte, so you don't get smudges or fingerprints all over the place. And actually, the phone as a whole has a really good feel to it. It has a really nice heft to it. It's not light and flimsy feeling like some of the old Samsung Galaxy phones were. Let's go ahead and start it up. You can actually do a gesture startup, and we're in. Just looking through, it's just regular Android 4.2. Nothing too special. It does not have 4.3 or higher yet, but THL has said that they will be releasing 4.4 for this device along with the rest of their series from last year. Now, whether or not that 4.4 is going to come in time before 4.5 or 5.0 comes out, who knows, but it'll be nice to have the extra KitKat features when they become available. As I said, you know, this device does have a bit of heft to it. It's not a small, light, or flimsy device, and I guess that's what helps make it feel like a more premium device than it actually is, considering its price. It has a 5-inch screen, and it's actually a 720p screen. It has a DPI, I believe, of around 320, and it is actually sporting some pretty impressive specs. I have a benchmark app open. Let's just take a quick look. So like I said, it's got a 720p screen. It's saying that it's got a 13.3 megapixel rear camera on there, but on the case itself it only says 8 megapixel for the camera. I haven't actually exported any of the pictures yet to test and see what the true resolution that comes out of the sensor is, but I'm going to guess that it's probably an 8 megapixel and that it's just detecting it as a 13. So the device does come with 2 gigs of RAM. It's 15 gigs total and only has about 6 gigs right there available to the user at the start. I've already installed a metric ton of apps on it, including a couple that are a couple gigs in size, and it still has space. The third port that was on the inside that I didn't mention is actually a micro SD slot. This phone can actually take up to a 32 gig micro SD. But let's go back and finish looking at the specs. So as I was mentioning, you actually do get a lot of premium features for this device, despite the fact that it's so cheap. That $229 is, of course, the off-network price, so this is ordering direct from the manufacturer. I ordered it and got it within about a week of me placing the order. So cool thing about this phone that a lot of other China phones don't have is that it actually has full US 3G capabilities when it comes to GSM carriers. No 4G on this device, so you don't have LTE, but you do have HSBA+. Right now I'm not connected. I got the little 3G symbol, but last night I was able to get HSPA in my apartment, and I was pulling down about 15 megabits per second. I'm running on T-Mobile, on a T-Mobile subsidiary right now, and this is, as far as I know, the first Chinese smartphone to actually have T-Mobile compatibility. So device does come with an electronic compass, which I guess is cool. You usually don't see that on some of the cheaper devices. Doesn't have a gyroscope, but does have NFC, which I love. It actually, the camera that I'm recording this on is actually an NFC camera, so later on if I want to review or even edit the video, I can just tap my phone against the side and download it directly to my phone. The phone is an A7, or the processor in the phone is an A7, so it's a bit of an older generation, but it is an 8-core. I haven't had any real performance issues so far with this device. It runs perfectly smooth and can even run some of the fancier games. Right now I'm loading up Injustice Gods Among Us. This is one of the larger things I've had to download so far. Have the sound off, of course, but runs just fine, full frame rate, no issues so far when using any of these games. I even have a couple other games that I've run on here. Dead Trigger, which is also another really pretty game. Let me get that loading in the background. Or actually, oh yeah, let's see if it takes a while to load. Actually runs really well on this device. No issues with the frame rate or anything like that. I was even able to, since this has this game allows you to adjust the graphics between high and low. It came on low on default. I cranked it up to high and no real loss in quality while playing, so really good performance overall. Now you won't be able to play I think some of the newer games, like I think Nova 3 may be a little too much for this. I haven't downloaded it to test it out yet, but, you know, some of the other games, you know, I'm not going to have an issue with. If you're just playing Angry Birds or Temple Run or something like that, that's not going to be an issue. As I was mentioning, the phone does have a 5-inch 720p screen. It's actually quite beautiful, I'm not going to lie, to look at pictures on. They come through crisp and clear. No real imperfections that I've noticed in the LCD, no dead pixels or anything like that. It is an IPS display, which does help make it look really pretty. And video playback on this is also absolutely stellar. Playback goes through no issue. This is actually I'm using a app that has codec support, but this is actually an uncompressed video file that I'm playing back. It's playing it back at the proper frame rate, and it looks really, really good. Lots of detail on the phone. Colors seem fairly accurate, though I haven't gone through full testing on that yet. And really can't find much to complain about this device other than the lack of LTE. Now, I will say that I haven't actually put the camera on this device through its full tests yet, but from initial testing, it seems to work pretty well. This is the default camera app, but of course I have like 17 other camera apps and photo editing apps installed on here as well. At the end of this video, I'll actually put up some photo and video samples from the device using both the front and rear cameras, just so that way you can get a look at it. From what I've seen so far, dark light or low light performance really isn't that great. There's not a lot of phones that really do low light very well, but this one, it seems like it may be a little worse than some of the other ones that I've used in the past. But I want to get some out in daylight, and I also want to get some video on this since I haven't tested that yet. I'll have a couple clips at the end of this. Other than that, this is the THL T11. Like I said earlier, it's actually a bargain at the price. I would definitely recommend this if you just need... I bought this just as a hold me over until the announcement of the next Nexus. I'm halfway between Nexus cycles, if there even is another Nexus, and didn't want to spend $500 on a new phone, so I just picked this up for the cheap, less than half the price of like the LG and HTC One. So, I mean, overall, I would have a hard time not recommending this device. Other than that, you know, since it has the dual SIMs, it actually does have international capabilities with the GSM bands, both Europe, Asia, and the United States. So if you're an international traveler and you don't want to take your more expensive phone with you, this isn't a bad option. You can even pop a SIM in here and still be connected with your US contacts, no issue. Other than that, this is Jeremy signing off with a quick look of the THL T11.